Alrighty then, let's get to it. This is the Java instance of keyword problem. What this wants you to do, guys, is you can read all this stuff, but I'm just going to tell you what it wants you to do. All it wants you to do is it wants you to pick a number, right? For this problem, we're going to use this 5, and that 5 is going to correspond to how many queries it's going to have there. And it wants you to count these class instances. So we're counting class instances right here. And when it's all said and done, we're gonna have 3 of the student class, 1 of the rockstar class, and 1 of the hacker class in that specific order. That's also very important for this problem. It goes student, rockstar, hacker. Student, rockstar, hacker. That's very important for this one. So let's jump to it. So here's my code here. So right off the bat, we're going to declare these 3 classes at the top. Student, rockstar, hacker. Remember, like I said, student, rockstar, hacker. Right, so right off the bat, we're going to throw those down. Boom, 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 right there. Then we're going to come down to the main. And we're going to do scanner equals new scanner here in the main. And it's going to ask for that 5. It's going to do the scan.next integer. And it's going to ask for that 5. So we're going to give it that 5. And then it comes into this for loop right here. And so it's going to say I equals 0 for I for I is less than 5. So this whole thing's going to run those 5 times for those 5 queries. And the first one it's going to ask for a string, right? It's going to ask for this first string, which is going to correspond with these here. It's either going to be a student, rockstar, hacker. And so the first one, if you type in student, it's going to trigger this dot add function here, and it's going to add. It's going to trigger this add function, and it's going to add this new student to our list. Which a list that we declared up here, that we titled my list, and it's going to be an array list. So it's going to add this new student class instance to our list, right? So when you go through the program and you write it out like it says here, okay, you're going to type in student. Okay, it comes down here, it's C student, and it's going to add this new student class instance to our list. Right, and it goes the same, and then it goes again, looks at the next string, looks at the next thing you typed in, it's going to see student, and it's going to add that student again to our list, and so on and so forth, to where, let me show you what that kind of looks like. So after this for loop is finished running, runs through 5 times, you give it 5 things to look at. You give it 5 strings to look at. This is what that list looks like. Okay, I'm going to do 5 student, rockstar, student, hacker. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, at this moment, this is what that list looks like. Right after this for loop is done running, this is what your array list, which we gave the object handle my list, looks like. Right? So student, rockstar, student, hacker. Student, rockstar, student, hacker. That's what it looks like in the list. So at this point, it's all jumbled. And it all looks like a bunch of crap right there, but that's what is stored in our list right now. So then, after that's all done, then we can move down to here, open this up. Then it takes that new list. Then it takes our list. It takes my list, which is this right here, and it throws it into this count method, aka this count function. And it calls that count function up here. It calls it up here. This is a count function, or aka a count method, that takes 2 parameters. It takes a list type and the actual list itself. and it's going to be of string type, right? Means it's going to take some strings. And if you're wondering what the static is there, from what I understand, that just means that once you it just means that it can't be changed. So in other words, once you throw this list up here into this method up here, you can't change it after that. So you throw your list up here, or throw your stuff in it, or throw your mumbo jumbo stuff up there, and you declare these numbers up here, these integers, which is really cool. I didn't even know you could do that like that. You just declare int a equals 0, and then comma b equals 0, comma c equals 0. I didn't know you could do that. I thought you had to put int a equals 0, int b equals 0, and c equals 0. So that's really cool. I didn't know you could do that. Anyway, so then you create this for loop here, which goes through your list that you just sent up. So for int I equals 0, while I is less than my list.size, which is the size of the list of my list that you just sent it. So this is going to go through the list. So this for loop is going to go through the list, and we have to create a special array to go through this list of object type. And this element here, that's just a variable, because you can't just put something like this mumbo jumbo shit in it like that and expect it to know what it is. It's not like a regular array where it's going through integers or it's going through regular string words. And you do have to use this special .get I, because it is a special list. Because this isn't like a string this isn't a clean string or a clean integer. So we have to use that to go through these things in this object array here. So once you have that established, then you're going to come in, and it sees right, it's going to go through each element, which is each thing in our list, and then it asks if that element is an instance of your class. This is basically how you ask. This is basically how you ask if it's a class instance. So this is that instance of special keywords. This is how you ask. Is it a student class or what kind of class is it? So it goes through if element instance of student, and if it is, then add 1 to our a integer up here, and that a turns to 1. Right, so it goes through C student, adds 1 to a, goes through again, C says student, adds another 1 to a. So now the student count is 2. Then it goes through, and then it goes a third time around and sees Rockstar. It comes to here, it says, and sees this, and it sees that it's a Rockstar, so it's going to add 1 to B. So now the B count is 1, and so on and so forth. And then, and it's going to go through the whole for loop and then add the appropriate counts to these integer variables up here. And then it takes those variables, then it takes those integers, then it takes those ABC integers and converts them into strings, as you can see in this line here. So it takes a variable A, which is 3, because there was 3 student class instances, and it converts that into a string. So it takes an integer and converts it into a string. That's why this string here. That's why this array here is of string type, because we're turning them into strings. So and as you can see here, it says integer to string. That kind of function kind of tells you what it is right there. So once you have that string array made there, it's going to return that string array called ret. I guess it's for return. I guess that's why they're calling it that. But anyway, it's going to return that ret down here, back to where you called the count function originally in the first place, and it's going to print that count out in this specific order that you gave it to in right here. I know this code might seem like kind of scary and kind of complicated when you first look at it at first glance, but it's really not. All it is it's turning that integer a variable, that 3, it's just turning into a string, and then it gives it a space just to separate them, just to make it look, easier so a human can read it. And then, right, it does that for the integer b here, and then it gives you another space so you can read it, and then does that for the last integer that we gave it, which was c, which was the 1, which corresponds to the 1 time of the hacker class instance. So it returns all that to ret, which returns all the down to where we call it here in this count method in the first place, and prints it out, and actually prints it out in that order. I'll show you that right here. So when we enter all of this shit back in, student, rockstar, student, hacker. Student, rockstar, student, hacker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we enter all that in, you get your 311 there, which is the 311 that you have in the problem here. There's 311. And that's how that works, guys. That's how that works. I know this problem looks like really complicated in the beginning, but it's really not. Once you break it down and kind of get a feel for what it looks like, and I put spaces in between my code just so it's a little bit easier to read and all that. And so let me do a quick CP here. Throw it all into the hacker website. Oh, and by the way, if you do in Java 7, it'll give you all of this except for like this part here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me just reset that real quick. So it gives you this. So if you go to Java 7 and hit your little three dot expansion buttons, if you've seen any, and it'll give you all this in the Java 7. So what you do, so really all you have to do is replace this here, or really just replace this right here. So if you go to your code and grab this little piece here, you just copy and paste that there into it, and it'll give you a good read. Go to your submit code. And passes all the test cases, correct expected output, all that. And you are good, guys. If this video helped you at all, like and share, subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow this channel. Again, I'm gonna pin in the top comment my code, so you can CP it real quick if you need to. And leave a comment, guys, if there's anything I can do to improve my videos. I'm open-minded. Let me know what I'm doing right. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. What can I improve on and all that stuff. And thanks for watching my video, guys. Peace.